get some.
So, I hope you guys are ready for some sea shanties and wet panties.
Oh
Yes.
my god. Oh my
Because
god.
we're gonna hoist another glass in pina colada berg, coconut milk with a pineapple splash. Don't forget that the rum comes third.
Fantastic. So, if you don't know, this episode is on vacation horror. Vacay.
Forever.
A movie that I watched that you guys have not seen is Retreat. And that one has
Yeah.
Cillian Murphy and Tandy Newton. And I recommend that one.
Yeah.
Different vibe for sure. It's got like this almost kind of 28 Days Later vibe, which is funny because it's Cillian Murphy and he's
Yeah.
in 28 Days Later. But there's a lot less violence. It's much more of an isolated single location set, which I love single location films.
Me
This
too.
one involves this couple who go on holiday to a cabin that they usually stay at on this island where it's completely isolated. You can only get to it by a boat. And on this island, there's a cabin that's ran by a generator. So they've stayed there before. The owner can get to and fro by boat and they can talk on a CB radio. While they're there, the generator has some problems. They try to get a hold of the owner. The owner says he's going to come by in the morning and fix it. In the meantime, this army guy like washes up on shore, has a head injury. They take him in and then they find out from him that they have to isolate in this house, that the entire world has been overrun by a pandemic since they've been on the island, and
When
they
did this
have to
movie
like
come out?
lock themselves in 2011. So while they're there, like they're basically told there's an airborne virus. And this isn't giving anything away. This is like in the description of the movie.
Synopsis.
The synopsis, thank you. That's the word. It's in the synopsis. They're like isolating with this guy and they start to question what is happening, what is true, what is not. They don't know anything but what they hear from this guy. Their CB radio's not working anymore and they can't get a hold of the owner. So it's a really cool, isolated kind of paranoia build with a couple that's struggling from a trauma of losing a child.
Oh.
Like
And I think
Antichrist
that,
again.
yeah, like they go to retreat, literally, like the title, and heal together. And you could tell that there's some issues and mistrust between themselves, not enough to not
Oh my
trust
god.
each other over
I'm
this
really
stranger.
thirsty.
I'm intrigued by that one because I love Killian.
It's on my watch list.
Yeah, I like Cillian Murphy and I love Tandy Newton, and I think that their performances are what kind of carry this movie, as well as the guy that they're playing against, who is played by Jamie Bell, who is pretty decently also famous. Like he's been in quite a bit of
Is he
films. The Rental, which is by Dave
Yeah.
Franco. It's his directorial debut, isn't it?
Oh, I did not
really?
know that.
It's
believe.
pretty okay.
It's average. It's a little above average. I would say it's definitely more thriller, yeah, drama maybe. There's a lot of relationship drama in this one.
It's an Airbnb horror, which Chris and
Yeah.
I both wanted to mention another Airbnb horror, which we didn't watch but recommend.
I can tell you about some of these characters. Dan Stevens was in The Guest. He was also in
Yeah.
Downton Abbey. Allison Brie is Dave Franco's wife, who was also in Community, the show.
Okay.
Is
She's
this a girl
really
from
funny.
A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night?
Sheila
No, that's the
Band.
other one.
Yeah, Sheila Band.
Yeah,
She's from A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. And there's another
Someone confirmed Terry Quinn is the guy I'm thinking
XX.
of.
She's an X.
He's just the guy that rents it out to them. That they murder.
Jeremy Allen
murder?
White is in that new show, The Bear, that is taking over For You pages right now.
I have not heard a thing about it. Is it the one about the cooking place?
Yeah.
The restaurant. Isn't it?
The restaurant.
No.
He's like a fine, like, dining restaurant chef
It's
who
an
ends up
asshole
like,
chef show. Asshole
yeah,
chef
but he
show.
like takes on his brother's, he's like inherits his brother's restaurant, like sandwich shop. Other
Hydrated
place.
Power
Anyways.
loves the bear. Hi, Hydrated Power.
I've been thinking
Oh,
about
okay.
watching it, but a lot of people keep comparing it to Uncut Gems, which is not my vibe.
Uncut
Not my
Gems.
vibe.
I'm just disappointed it's not about a big old guy with a beard.
Toby Edward Huff, he has been in a lot of stuff. He's been in The Invitation, Halloween, Ghostbusters, Cowboys and Aliens, Jerry Maguire. He was in Martyrs.
The remake?
The remake, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's the remake. I have not seen it. I've seen the French version, if that's a real place. French version.
France.
That is where all those characters come from. And now that I've done a rundown on all the actors, that is my contribution to this movie because I still have not finished it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I forgot it.
it's effective enough for me because that's a huge fear of mine. That's a real life fear of mine. Whenever I stay anywhere, I've watched way too many documentaries and videos about people putting hidden cameras in places, and it freaks me out. It's so scary. And so this movie was effective in that sense. Not necessarily how it played out, but the hidden camera thing. Ugh.
Yeah, I'm paranoid about that too. I'm not doing anything worth watching, but at the same time, it
No,
terrifies me that someone's watching me. I don't like it. I
exactly.
don't want it.
Exactly my point. Yeah, I'm not doing anything weird, but I just don't want people watching me when I'm renting out an Airbnb and I'm just trying to enjoy my vacation. Ooh, it's so creepy. Apparently, it happens more frequently than we realize.
There's a
And
lot
that
of
also scares
Airbnb
me.
horror stories.
There
stories.
are
Like
so many.
like Superhost is another one with Barbara Crampton is not the main character, but she makes
Yeah.
an appearance a few times in that. And I recommend that one too. It's on Shudder.
That's a fun
There's
one.
a movie that this reminded me of in the beginning that's a funnier or like rom-com movie called Drinking Buddies with Olivia Wilde, where Olivia Wilde and Anna Kendrick and their two like significant others go on a camping or hiking trip together, and there's some like interloping going on.
Interloping? Where they're trespassing somewhere?
Like they're sleeping with each other.
Oh.
Is that not the right word?
No, I don't think no.
I don't know if I knew what you meant.
I mean, it's
I'm gonna look it up now because I've always thought interloping was like a mixing of
It means you
people
don't
when they
belong.
shouldn't. Yeah, like I guess so.
I guess it kind of you could make it fit. It's not out of the question. I just never thought of it that way. It's not like Egregory's the doubtful guest. That's a true interloper. He's so cute. He wears little Converse and he looks like
It says involved in
I-
a place or situation where one is not wanted or is considered to not belong. Yeah, interloping. Yeah, like
I don't think this is the first.
they don't belong in their relationship. I've always heard it like that. If you're like mixing people when you shouldn't.
We do the hand motion like people won't know what we mean. Oh, I hurt myself. I hit my finger on my ring. Gotta be more gentle. Jeez.
It does sound similar though, because this definitely happens in the rental for sure.
Yeah, and that's
Very
about as far
similar.
as I watched it was that hot tub scene where that was established.
I want hot tub so bad.
Yeah.
Come
But
hang out with
yeah,
me.
if you
Yeah,
watch
yeah.
Superhost, they don't. It's not quite the same. They only are being watched on camera? That is true. But the like villain of the movie, I can't remember her name. Oh no.
I don't remember her name either, but she pretends she owns the place when she does it.
Yeah, I can't. I know she's played by a girl named Grace. I think Grace Gillum or something. She does such a good job. She's wacky in this movie. She really embraces the full crazy, and I really love her performance in Superhost. She was my favorite part of the whole movie because it's
She's
a
the best
very.
part of the movie.
She was the best part because it was a very typical run of the mill movie, and you know what's going to happen. It's predictable, but she did a really good job. Really good job. Highly recommend. Just for fun. Just a fun watch.
It's a funsies.
I'll have to check it out.
I think a lot of these vacation horrors and Midsommar is another one where you kind of rationalize it yourself. Like it's fitting
Right.
into things and it's fine. I think that's a human thing that we all try to do is we try to rationalize it. You know what? That was weird. But then we think of reasons. Well, maybe that's weird. Then that happened because of this. And we go
What is
on. But
that
then it gets
movie where they talk about politeness? And it's your politeness is why you didn't leave. Like it's more polite to stick around. So in your politeness, you decided to stay. I forget what movie this is. It might be something like
know.
Hannibal Lecter-y. I don't remember.
was
He
it
talks
Red
about it too. I
Dragon
think.
or Hannibal or
It could have been Hannibal.
Rising?
It could have been Hannibal. I don't remember
think
where
so.
it's at, but there's something that happens where the killer is basically you could have left. You could have left at
Yeah.
any time. I think like with vacation horror though, you are out of your element and it's just slightly more terrifying than when you know your environment and you're put in a position to have to get away. Or if I'm on a road trip in America and something bad happens, don't feel nearly as out of my element or comfort zone to not take care of myself as I would if I were in South America or like any other country where I don't know the language, I don't know the
Customs.
geography, the customs, any of that. I feel like that would be way scarier.
I
No-
like Your Next. I like the twists in Your Next. I think they were done very well. The first time I ever watched it, I was like blown away by what was
Me
happening.
too.
But also the whole idea of being, yeah, like comfortable meeting, yeah, you're meeting your partner's in-laws, whatever, their parents. You're still in a nice house in a beautiful area, but having these intruders outside the house, it's very like strangers, like hush, like you don't know what's going on outside. It's bad.
Yeah.
That is the scariest thing because they can't see them. There's just arrows flying through the windows. It is such a terrifying realization of what's going on. They all portray it really well. You can see the fear on their face. Like
Mhm.
they deliver really good performances in this. I really appreciated everybody in this movie. They all did very well.
Dude, that dinner scene, perfect. I love
It's
the way that
perfect.
the way that they go like almost slow-mo at times, but not how there's like this
Yeah.
background commotion going on as the guy, she barely notices the glass on the ground, and it takes
Yeah.
everybody a minute to notice that this dude's
Yeah.
got an arrow sticking in his forehead, and then chaos breaks out. And this is the first time you see some shaky cam action going on. And you'll see it mostly when you're on different characters. But the minute you're on Erin, the camera goes very steady and focused. And that's because she's
Yeah.
very steady and in her right mind almost the entire time. She never panics. And you learn later that's because of her experience as like a survivalist in Australian outback. And like she
Yeah.
was instructed in the ways of surviving like the worst situations, which is amazing. She instantly became one of my favorite final girls.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Top notch final girl. And this
Yeah.
one scene depicts every character so perfectly on what to expect throughout the rest of the film. Because you have what turns out to be the two baddies, the bad guys, right? The
Yeah.
siblings or the jerky sibling with his weirdo girlfriend. They're also kind of calm. They're not super panicked compared to anybody else. And you notice that
Yeah.
with the way that the camera moves around on people. It's just,
Yeah.
it's a really well done scene. And I love that it gets quiet, but not too quiet to where it's not still chaotic. The loud sound of the arrows coming in. So that's
Yeah.
the loudest sound in that scene is when the arrow shoots through the window and like sticks into something. And like everything
Pegs
else
Ty
is kind
West
of
in the head.
yeah, and, like, everything else in that scene is muffled chaos, but
Yeah.
those sounds are clear and, like, loud, and it's so
Yeah.
effective, so effective.
It's a very effective movie. Yeah, it's done very well. It's definitely one of my favorites of. I didn't realize it was that old actually. I thought it was more recent.
Me neither.
But
One of my
yeah, I
favorite
thought it was
kills
really recent.
happens in this movie. The
Which one?
blender.
Oh yeah. The blender part is so
The
good.
blender, she sticks it in his head, turns it on. The other her
Yeah.
his, like, girlfriend is, like, on the floor, like, recovering carefully. She had just stabbed Erin in the back, like, with a knife. She turns and notices that the girlfriend's there, and she, like and, like, stabs her in the head. Oh, it's so good. Best
And then her
scene.
boyfriend walks in and he's like, "What happened to him?" I blended his head.
Yeah,
She says it so calmly, like she's just like,
yeah,
"Yeah, killed him with a blender."
yeah. And then she
I
kills him,
love it.
it's perfect.
It's so perfect. Yeah,
And the
a lot of
ending?
good body horror.
How do you
Yeah,
feel about the ending? Like, the
I
fact that
I
she looks like she's wanted and she's gonna be blamed for it all?
I like it. Again, it's with the like twists of this movie. It just like it added that little extra that you don't think is going to happen. And I like when movies do that. They throw you off and they go a different direction. I like that.
And it's
Feel
not
bad for
super
her.
serious either. The way that they do
No,
the, like, crime scene photo and, like, the
I
detective,
know.
like, case files and stuff, and
Yeah,
it's very goofy, but
it is.
perfectly on tone, like, it's fun, and
Yeah,
the music is playing again. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, yeah, it's a
yeah,
good one.
satisfying. The scene
Satisfying.
The scene where Barbara Crampton is like laying on the bed and you can see the hand just crawl out under the bed.
Oh,
Oh, that part
so
gets every time. Every
it's
time.
so good. It was
It
so
is.
scary the first time you watched
So
it, just to
scary.
see it come out because you don't
Yeah.
expect it. It's just like a
No.
close shot. It's a wide shot, and they've been doing that the
Yeah.
whole movie. Like, why would you
Exactly.
expect that? And then you
Yeah.
see it, and you're like, and then the way
Yeah.
like the face looks at her under the oh
Yeah.
god,
I
so
was expecting something to
good.
come like when she lies down, I'm like, okay, somebody's gonna shoot an arrow through the window or they're gonna be up in a tree, like watching her from outside.
Yeah,
Never expected for somebody to already be in the house under the bed. Had no
yeah.
idea. Very
No
effective.
idea. Even when they set it up. They set it up with
Yeah.
the, like, piss bottles in the closet. Still. You forget about it. Like, you forget about
do.
it.
This was a fun rewatch. I really liked this one on the
Oh,
second
every
rewatch.
time. This is one of probably my most watched. Besides, yeah, out of all of these movies, I watch this one the most because I rewatch it
Interesting. I've
all the
watched
time.
it
I love it.
twice.
Oh
This was
God,
only
I
a
watch it
second
so
rewatch.
often.
I haven't
It's
seen
one
it
of
since
my
it came out.
go-tos for sure. Just
Oh,
like they were
really?
saying in the
Oh,
chat, yeah. Oh God,
yeah.
I love this one. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
it's so
go-to.
good.
It's a go-to.
It's so much fun.
Speaking of go-tos, one more go-to of mine is I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh,
And this one counts as a vacation horror because, of course, they go to
yeah.
what, Costa Rica or something? I don't even
I
remember.
haven't seen it.
It's
Isn't
like
it?
they,
No, Rio is the. I don't know where they are.
I don't remember where they go, but they go somewhere, right?
Yeah.
The
Oh, yeah.
Bahamas. They go to the
They win
Bahamas,
a
it
trip.
says.
They win
Yeah,
a
to the
trip from the
Bahamas.
radio call.
The radio station. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I loved this one more than the first. I Know What You Did
Is
Last
Sarah
Summer.
Michelle Gellar still in it?
No, she dies
No,
in the first one.
she
Oh,
dies.
this is like
But
the
Julie is
lamest of the
much more
slashers to me in
interesting.
the 90s. I don't mean
Oh,
that
it
to
is.
be. It's like
No, it's not
boring.
offensive. I think I Know What You Did Last Summer was of all of the 90s teen horror that came
Crystal
out in
doesn't
that
look like she
time,
agrees.
it's one of the least strong. It's the weakest.
Oh,
Get
Crystal!
out of here! Get
I
out of
think
here!
Helen Shivers should have been the final girl. I found Julie very
Agreed.
boring in the first one.
Agreed.
I still like it. Don't get me wrong. When I say this
Okay.
is the weakest, it's the weakest of some of my favorite films. Like 90s teen
I love it
horror,
so
it's
much.
some of my favorite.
I know.
And
Yeah.
and I Know What You Did Last Summer is one of the weaker ones to me. It and Urban Legends are tied.
Oh, I disagree. Urban Legends is way below I Know What You Did Last Summer for me.
I
But
don't.
this is a movie that I disagree. But
Optimisty says it's the best.
Regard
The
the
second
second
one.
one.
What?
Yeah, the second one is the best of the trilogy. Wait, which one is?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I
I
still
still
Second
know.
one, I
Yeah,
think.
I
yeah.
Still know.
disagree, but it's
I
like
still
tied.
knew what you
it's
did
tied.
last summer.
I still knew.
I
I
still
I
love
still
the
knew.
second one. This movie gets a lot of hate, and I've done videos on it on TikTok, and people come for me.
Why?
They're like, "This movie sucks."
They
And
come.
I'm like,
It's
"Get
one
outta
of
here."
those.
Oh, yeah. People are like, "This movie's terrible. How can you like this?" It's so
It's
good. It's
It
so
fantastic.
upsets
fun.
me.
It's so fun.
And
I
the
love
twist,
the set.
yeah, the set is beautiful.
So good.
Brandy, fantastic in this movie.
Fantastic. What's her face
Brandy's
is
in it?
fantastic too. Yeah, Brandy's her best friend, and
Yeah.
she's great.
Brandy.
She's
Was it
so good.
more
in this. I
Jack
want
millennial?
her to
Black.
do more.
Jack Black plays a Rastafarian
What?
stoner who
Yeah.
like pool boy. Oh my God. Yeah.
I
It's
am
so
a
good.
big Jack Black fan. I love Jack Black. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go see
She's
Tenacious D
fantastic.
in October.
Oh, what? I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous.
Like I
Oh,
feel like
yeah.
every character in this movie is strong, except for maybe Freddie Prinze Jr. I'm sorry, Freddie Prinze Jr., but you could have just not been in this movie and it wouldn't have mattered.
Honestly,
You
I
would not have
agree.
I've never
could have
been
been out of
impressed
both
with him in
movies.
movies, but I love hearing him talk about Star Wars. Have you guys
He's
heard him talk
very,
about
oh
Star Wars?
yeah, I
No, I've
love
never
Intense.
heard.
those. He is so
Oh my
intense.
god.
The twist in this movie is
Yeah.
so good, and I don't think people appreciate the name usage. I
It
really
No.
is
don't
funny. I
appreciate
do.
that.
I do. I
So
think it's
funny.
a very clever title. I think it's very
So
clever.
clever.
It's funny.
Oh,
It's funny.
Well
I like. It's
Benson.
not Bo Benson, not Bo Svensson.
I love a good pun.
Like it's so Ben Wilson, Will Benson, and it's Benson. Like
Son.
it's whoever wrote that is a genius, and
So
So
nobody
it really seems
appreciates
like they
it.
knew what they were doing with this. With I still know what you did. Like they knew and they played it up.
Oh, yeah.
in a good way.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
they had
it's
fun with
easily
this
good.
movie, and you can tell because
They
it's much
did.
more entertaining, in my opinion, than the first
It's
one.
more, yeah, it's more
I gotta
upbeat
watch
and
it.
like
I'm gonna do it.
energetic.
Yeah, it has a better.
What?
I think, yeah, pace and tone better.
Yeah.
I'm
The
gonna watch
best
the
part
second
of
one
I
and
Know
then
What
gonna
You
watch
Did.
Club Dread again.
Yeah, the best part of I Know What You Did Last Summer was Helen Shivers' chase scene and kill. That was one of the
Yeah.
best parts of that movie.
I
And
agree.
literally every scene with Sarah Michelle Gellar, even up to that point, that those were the best parts of that movie. And in this one, it felt like you got that a lot more of that
Yeah.
because you got a lot more interesting chase scenes, a lot more interesting, unexpected kills or moments, and a lot more goofy kind of characters that were a little over
Yeah.
the top and interesting to watch. So you never felt like you were bored with a character, and you felt bad every time one of them died because you like them all.
Yeah.
You
I
even
agree.
feel bad when you find out who the killer is, because this guy that's like interested in her is way more charismatic than Freddie Prinze Jr. But Will is much more of an interesting character than Ray, who is her boyfriend, Freddie Prinze Jr. So you feel bad that he's a bad guy. Like you're like, oh man, because he's
But
hilarious.
he's also so evil. Like at the end, he just flips the
So
switch, and
evil.
he's so evil. I love
Matthew
it.
Settle is underrated. Underrated.
Yeah.
Because he's been in a few things. He was in Ouija. He was in, God, what else was he in? Hold on, let me look it up. Band
Ouija
of
kinda sucks.
Brothers. Sorry.
Oh,
And
okay.
U571. He's underrated. And he was a great villain. He should be a villain
He was.
again. I want him back. He's
He
a
plays a
good-looking
good
dude.
villain.
He's hot.
Yeah. He's hot.
He's hot.
Yeah, Emma, I highly recommend. It's such a fun movie. So fun.
I'll watch it, definitely. I'm in.
Another one that,
Maybe I want to talk about Escape from Tomorrow for a second.
oh yeah.
I just
Talk
did a
about
weird
Escape
thing
from
with my tongue. I
Tomorrow.
just said a crystal. What are we
Oh.
I did the same thing. I was doing this. I'm like, why are we both doing this? It was so weird.
What were you guys doing?
I don't know.
I don't
And
really know.
I don't even know why. Escape from Tomorrow, they like to really use the term guerrilla style shot film. In Disneyland and Disney World, they brought in DSLR cannons to shoot the movie without Disney or Disneyland's knowledge. And then they edited it in South Korea because they're really obviously worried that Disney's going to have a big beef about it. But Disney was more worried about the Streisand effect, that it was going to get more, if we fight this, then it's going to get more attention. Let's just ignore it. So the best way to describe Escape from Tomorrow, a lot of people know like the more extreme parts of it, which aren't even that extreme. And I don't mean that in an edgelord way. It's just played up. It's boring. It is the most metaphorical shots of different things like fountains, neosporin going everywhere that is metaphorically ejaculating in this movie. Like a lot in this movie, in Disneyland, Disney World. This movie, basically, the premise of this is Everybody Loves Raymond, the Ray Romano show. If it was really horny and dirty in Disneyland and Disney World, and Ray
I want to watch this movie earlier when you were talking about it,
But
but
now
now
he's starting to see visions and weird stuff's happening, and obviously, oh, Deborah, but his wife's not named Deborah. I don't remember what it is.
Deborah.
Deborah, and he looks kind of like Ray Romano. He also is briefly, a subplot is he's stalking these teenage girls, but they are flirting with him, which is weird, and they're French for some reason. It doesn't matter. It turns into nothing. Nothing creepy happens besides the fact that he's stalking them, which is in itself very creepy and inappropriate. Like they're young.
It's really chaotic because you're selling
It
chaos
sounds like
right
it.
now.
People like to compare it. They're like, this movie, guerrilla style filmmaking. It's like David Lynch. It's like Terry Gilliam. People get intense about it. I thought it was he owns all his actions, which I liked. All the cringy, gross things he does, like it's his fault. Like he's the one at fault. But at the same time, it's very much about nuclear family, middle-aged dude malaise, that kind of stuff. There's this whole weird scientist thing in the Epcot Center. I don't know. Do you guys mind if I spoil the ending that I already spoiled?
Spoil away.
He shoots himself to death because he gets the cat flu after he throws up these hairballs.
What
And
the
he
fuck
dies
is
and
the
they
cat flu?
Only cats get it.
Why did he get it?
Because in the movie, people get it.
So somebody didn't do their research?
No, it's intentional. I've never seen a person cough up a hairball, Justine.
He's just like licking himself.
No, he just gets really.
Is he a furry? How did he get hair?
He gets it from one of the teenage girls he was following around, and she's, hey, come hang out with us. He's like, no, Deborah, I can't.
Yeah, but how does he get that?
And she spits in his face. That's how he gets the cat flu. Earlier on, when he has to take his daughter to the nurse at Disneyland, and she's crying for no reason, she's like, everybody's worried about the cat flu. Catch you the cat flu, and then it doesn't come back until the end.
What is this movie? This sounds like a wild ride.
I'm making it sound more interesting than it is. He also just, I don't know. So the people, I wanted to watch this movie, but then I heard about these things, but they never explain what it is. I assume it's the stalking of the teenage girls, because to me, that's the most gross part of the movie. But I think it's supposed to be inappropriate.
Yeah.
But I can't tell at the same time. I can't tell.
It sounds inappropriate.
So it's a movie where Ray Romano, but not Ray Romano, shits himself to death at the end.
Got it.
It doesn't make any commentary about
that was a
capitalist
roller
America.
coaster, Emma. I'm gonna be honest, because there was a moment there when I was like, "Wait, do I want to watch this?" And then I was
Someone
like, "No,
does
I don't
lose
wanna
their
watch
head
this."
on the roller coaster in the beginning.
And now we're back. Do I want to watch this?
Watch if you're
I kinda
interested.
do.
You can. Oh, it's one of those movies that while watching part of it, because I watched it on YouTube. It's on YouTube for free. If you, it's one of those movies that if you start watching it, you'll be. I could watch this, or you're like, no, no,
Yeah.
it's not gonna work. So if you have an interest in it, watch it. It's not a very great movie, but it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. Like some people think this is the worst thing I've ever seen. I'm like, it's not even close. And it's the guy shits himself to death at the end. Not even close. The Darkness is a 1971 film. It's one of the other travel horrors that is common in Europe. They bicycle to different countries a lot, and it's about two girls. One goes missing. There's that one.
And there's an American remake that stars Amber Heard and Carl Urban, and Carl Urban is
Who's not related
fine,
to,
but the
and
film
he's
is not
not.
that good.
He's adamant on wherever you read that he's
Not
not
related.
related to Keith Urban. Not. What was it? How was it phrased? Like his managers have answered thoroughly that he is not related to Keith Urban. Hey, the
In any
fact that you're
capacity.
protesting it. The fact that you're
Even though he was
protesting it
part
so
of the
much-
band called the Urbans, the
I
Urban
know,
Brothers.
right? I feel like the fact that he's protesting it so much makes me think you are
Doth
brothers.
protest too much.
Too much. Impetigore is a great movie. It's a Yoko Anwar, but we're gonna do that more in depth. Whether we're going into Indonesian horror or Yoko Anwar and stuff. Anyway, real quick, I watched The Vanishing, which only turned out to be a
I'm gonna
vacation
still watch
thing at the
that
beginning.
because that piqued my interest quite a lot.
Well,
There's
you want to
also-
watch the remake?
I
though.
do
You
want to
wanna-
watch the remake,
which
It has
I do
Kiefer
too. I haven't seen the
Sutherland,
remake.
It has Jeff Bridges and Sandra Bullock. Where was this movie hiding?
Yeah,
Uh,
the remake
I
looks
am
good too. Or you could go on the
huge fan
Criterion
of all of
Collection
those
and watch the
actors.
original on the Criterion Collection.
That movie messes me up because that one feels so grounded and so realistic.
I need to
The
watch that one.
snuff film thing going on with it, the mountain like off the beaten path. If you find it, it's on accident kind of thing, and they're trying to stay alive as a like motel.
Another one with
like
cameras, where there's cameras.
more
in the motel.
cameras, which is what the rental reminded me of when I was talking
Mhm.
about. Like, I didn't finish the rental.
Vacancy.
Vacancy. Yeah, is
Vacancy.
it? Yeah, I believe you because there's
No,
it
yeah.
also when you rewatch it. Pay attention to the cinematography because there are some really cool shots in that movie that I don't think I really paid attention to the first time I watched it because I never took it seriously. I don't know. I don't know if that's fair, but it has these really cool shots that
That's
are
Luke Wilson in
when
it,
they're
right?
like, yeah, Luke Wilson and Kate Beckinsale. So when they're like creeping around and they find their way out and they like open the door. First of all, the whole motel has this like 70s, 60s. What is that? What is
Grit?
that style? That
Exploitation genre film.
no, it's a style of house. It's a style of like design
Oh.
style of like homes and
The
stuff.
motel?
Yeah, the motel has this design style to it that's very much like a
Would you call that a
capturing of when it was
townhouse?
built. No,
It's like the base motel. It's that same style of
I'm talking about
motel.
like the decor vibe. It's there's a word I'm looking for and it's driving me crazy.
brown,
It's
rust, brown, olive puke green. I know what you're talking
like
about.
there's a style of light called the Sputnik light, and there's like it's very 50s but modern. It's
The
called
70s doing the
something.
50s, yeah.
Oh my god, this
Postmodernism.
is gonna drive me crazy.
I'm just shooting in the dark with that one. So the premise of it is that they stop at this motel, and we don't know until mid-movie, I think, is that they film people and then they murder the people in the motel and they get
Mid-century
bites.
modern. Mid-century. It's
I
called
don't know
mid-century
that
modern.
stuff.
Anyways, sorry.
Brown.
Yeah, it does. It has that brown look, but it has like the amber glass, and then it has these like
Carpet.
modern style like lines and stuff that were very popular with the 50s decor when they were trying
I
to
thought the
do
lines
that
were more
like
60s.
it's a mix.
What
That's
do I
what's
know?
so
I
good
didn't know
about it though.
mid-century modern. What am I saying? I don't know. I have no idea.
That's what's so good about it though. Like a lot of motels, they go through these revamps throughout time, but they keep a lot of to save money, these like side motels, like mountain motels and stuff. You'll see these style changes where they'll have like 70s carpet because that's when carpet got really popular. So they'll have like shag carpet that's like olive green or brown, and then they'll have this 60s wallpaper that's still up and this like 50s lamps and stuff that are still up and all the wood framing and design is all still 50s where they like slowly update stuff, and it feels like they did that so well in this movie, and you see these like choices, and
Have you guys ever
I just
stayed
have
at
to
a
give it
roadside
credit.
motel?
Yes.
I don't
Oh
think
yes.
so.
Yeah, we've
no,
done a
no,
lot of
no.
road trips growing up, and they
I
all
did a
look
lot of
good.
Holiday Inns. Nothing but class here.
Yeah, this
And stay
film nailed the
Americas.
design is what I'm getting at. It nailed the design and it does it really so that when you see these wider shots where they're like peeking through the door, everything's glowing in this like amber light from and everything's green and brown and purpley. I don't know how to explain it. It's just pay attention to the cinematography when you rewatch it. It's so good.
Okay.
So good. Sorry, I spent a lot of time on that. The reason I think I caught my eye this time much more is because it's part of what clues them in that they're in danger is when they find the video from previous killings and they're watching it and they don't realize right away it's a snuff film until they start to pay attention to the fixtures, the bedspreads the same. And so you focus on those things. And this time around, I think I was paying attention more to it as a content creator. I'm trying to like, pay attention to details and cinematography. It's just interesting watching some of these movies in a different frame of mind than I used to. You know what I mean? The last time I watched Vacancy was probably when it came out. So
Which was 2003 or something.
2007. Yeah.
That was
So
cool.
it was a long time ago. And I remember this scared me when I was younger. I thought it was terrifying. The whole idea was scary. The other one that we all watched was The Perfect Getaway. And talk about another hot cast. All of them, every single actor in this is hot. Even Steve Zahn. Give him a
I
little credit.
disagree. I
He's,
don't agree.
he's a good baddie, though. I never expected that from him.
Yes,
Like,
There's-
that's a good list.
I liked it and it was fun enough, but at the same time, I felt like movies. You didn't think they would be the ones, did you?
I didn't.
Did you?
I didn't.
I did.
First time I watched this, I had
What?
no idea that Steve Zahn was
Yeah, the
gonna be
first
bad
time,
guy.
no idea.
I
No
1000%
clue.
that, but I thought that was gonna be the red herring because it's so obvious. Because it's like immediately.
Obvious on a second watch for
On
me.
a
No, it
second
was,
watch.
this
First
was
watch,
the
yeah.
first time I watched it. First time.
Then
Shut
you're a genius.
up. You're
Yeah,
so
yes.
smart.
There's no way.
No, I'm
There's
not
no
so
way.
smart.
You're
I
so
just
smart.
watched too many movies. No, because okay, so I thought it was gonna be red herring because it was like so obvious to me because she's
Oh,
like
Emma,
your brother
you're a
in
genius.
Maryland when she's like laying on his your brother in Maryland. He's brother from Michigan. And she's I thought he said Maryland at the weddings. Michigan. I don't like talking about my past. And they
I
kept
just
on
thought he was
mentioning,
a
"I don't like talking about my
high-strung
past."
dude
So I'm like,
yeah, I
who
never
she
caught on
finally
to
got to
that.
go on
Relax.
vacation. That's all I thought.
So weird, so weird. And the way he immediately got really upset with her. At first, in the beginning, is he like a special ops dude? She doesn't know
No,
about
I thought
it.
he
And then
was
it became
just
more.
angry because of that other interaction they had with that couple.
It was
Like,
before
I
that.
never.
It was before they ran
Oh.
into the what's his name?
Chris
Thor.
Hemsworth.
I feel like that's
Chris
so.
Hemsworth.
I know Chris Hemsworth.
What's his name?
Ooh.
I like Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
He's not in it very much, but he plays a scary guy in this.
Yeah,
See,
this had to have been
I
like
thought
really for him.
I thought that like him and his girlfriend or whatever. I thought that they were the red herring, and then Timothy Oliphant and his girlfriend were maybe like the baddies. Because I was like, it's too
That's what I
obvious.
thought
They
too.
were the red herring. They
Yeah.
were the red herring is the thing. But because
Both were.
I don't know. I don't know how you picked up on that. There's
Me
no
neither.
way I got that
really?
on the
No,
first
it was
watch.
because he kept on mentioning I don't like talking about my past, and then I love
I never
how
got it.
they reveal it with it's like I don't trust a guy that says he's a screenwriter and doesn't know Cool Hand Luke. That is an amazing movie. Do you guys like Cool Hand Luke? You're fans?
No.
You don't. Oh my god!
The
You,
anger.
you don't like watching Paul Newman eat all those eggs? I love that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No clue. My favorite thing
I
about
highly
the gift.
recommend Cool Hand Luke for everybody. It's a good movie.
This might be like a really small detail, but I find it very important. People who have antisocial or psychopathy, I guess, tend to be drug abusers. And the
So
fact
I
that they
hated that.
included that.
I hated that. I thought it was
Stop!
stupid.
That is so real.
No, it's
That is
not
not
vacation. So
true.
they were like, sober and not doing meth that whole time, and then all of a sudden they bring out the meth. No way.
No, they were sneaking off and literally
They
that,
were
that scene
high
is the whole
functioning
time.
meth heads.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Super high functioning.
That is
Not-
something that happens with antisocial and
So
those,
he
that
seems
behavior.
totally square and totally
risky drug
No.
use if they do.
I don't know a lot about being a meth head.
And
I
it
am,
wasn't
like,
their they were literally doing drugs the whole time. That was the whole point of that scene. It was a flashback when they were on the beach.
Although they were pretending to go to the bathroom. I get it, but they didn't notice that they were on drugs. Like the eyes, they didn't notice at
No.
all. And he's supposed to be hyper aware. I didn't buy it. That part, it was a good movie, and even
Ugh.
though I thought it was predictable, it was fun to watch, and
I
It was
love that
thrilling,
part.
but the drug part was dumb to me. I didn't like it.
Oh, I love it. It felt very realistic detail to exactly
It's
what those
realistic
types
for
of
those
people would be.
types of characters, but it didn't feel
Yeah.
realistic in this setting. Like, what?
Oh, and this hyper aware dude that's supposed to be like special forces, again, that's super realistic. Those guys think
Yeah.
a lot better of themselves than they really are. They think they're like the all knowing, I'm super badass. I'm aware of my surroundings. Let me tell you about how badass I am and like how many cool things I know and do and how many weapons I can use and nobody can get past me. And then you get past them. And I'm like, yeah,
It's like most people that really talk about Vietnam, that went to Vietnam and talk about it a lot, are usually people that really didn't see much. The people that
uh,
did, they're like, I don't want to talk.
I also know a lot of people in the military that were meth users and very high functioning. So
I'm not
again,
saying you can't be high
realistic.
functioning.
I'm
Same.
saying
It
that
felt like
people
out
in
of
the
nowhere.
military turn a blind eye to those people too, who are supposed to
Crystal,
be
what did you think of the
self-aware
crystal
military
meth thing?
people.
The
Crystal,
only part I always get dragged in for this.
can't
the
be
only
Switzerland
part-
this time.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
Okay,
be
I'm just
hurt.
gonna-
I don't care.
No, I honestly don't really have much of a thought on it. The part that bugged me the most, though, involved like those random guys that stopped Gina when she was running away, and then he noticed his eyes. He was like, your pupils are the size of olives, and hers
He was an
isn't."
EMT.
Yeah, I hated that part because I don't know why those guys stopped her and why they wouldn't or wouldn't believe her and wouldn't
Because
let
she's
her
a
go. It was the most
woman
frustrating moment.
and she was
Exactly.
hysterical. How
It was
dare
so
she? They're the
frustrating.
calm, cool, collected guys. We'll protect you.
Yeah.
We're safe.
That
Oh,
was
that
so
also
frustrating
felt
in the
movie.
super believable to me.
No, that
It
felt
was believable, but
the
it was
whole
Yeah.
frustrating.
It's so fucking frustrating.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, on rewatch, I'm like, I fucking hate these guys. I'm glad
Right?
they're-
I
There's
was like,
another
let her
movie.
go.
I'm not gonna go into too many details because it's a fairly new movie, but it's called Alone, and there's a big scene, but even
Mhm.
more in depth about
Is this with
that
the
kind
woman
of
that
thing.
she gets taken to this guy's house and then she like runs through the forest?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Did you like that
I
one?
like that one.
Yeah, that one was good.
So anybody that hasn't seen it, because that scene was extended in that.
I like that one.
I
Yeah. I don't know. I think the twist was fantastic in this. It definitely worked for me. On a second rewatch, I will admit it is so obvious from the beginning. It's
Oh,
so
totally.
obvious. But you,
I'm
I
like, just talking
never
about my
would've-
past.
I
I
feel like
never ever-
I
And
haven't
how
rewatched.
stupid would they have to be? Because if they really had that money and the camera, because they're like, you don't do this in your own neighborhood, right? You're just like showing how much money you have, and then you has somebody else take their picture in a crowded place. Oh, that's the thing about having a camera with all the features is other people don't know how to use it, and that is the dumbest thing you could do as a tourist, no matter where you are. Like, duh. Like I'm a big tourist, and I have a bunch of cash on me and a camera. Don't do that. You have to be somebody that's not used to having that stuff. Don't get me wrong, I didn't figure out
I
to
don't
a
know.
T, but they
I
were
think
off.
he just likes risky behavior because he's a psychopath.
Yeah. He was wild.
He's wild.
I think he just wanted to brag that he had that stuff.
Yeah, probably. In hindsight, we haven't talked about the ruins. I liked this movie. It's one of those like Cabin Fever that I'm not looking like too into it. I'm not trying to get deep in this one. It's a creepy, crawly, gross, bloody, blurry horror
I
film.
hate this movie.
I love the creepy, crawly plants in the skin. It's like such a
Oh,
buggy,
okay.
gross, like uncomfortable.
In the skin, yes. I
Yeah.
hate this movie. I hate this story. I love the concept. I love them being stuck out there in pain, trapped. They're terrified. Love it. And I
And
love
that
the
they're
idea of them
forced
going on
into
vacation.
isolation.
Love it. I love it. But the plants, the killer vegetation, if you will, the killer fauna, so stupid. I'm sorry. I cannot. They're
It
like
never
ruffle-
lands for me. Attack of the this is
No.
if Optimistic still Attack of the Trippids is like, it would be another good Mystery Science Theater movie because it's the same, the killer plants thing or like the
Yeah.
happening. I just don't buy it. It never works.
No, it
Like
doesn't. 'Cause it's
sentient
not
plants
scary enough.
it doesn't work for me.
And they mimic things, which pissed me
Oh,
off
the
even
like
more because
It was this plants were
yeah,
too
the
smart.
cell phone and
I
the
thought it was
they
cool that
do
the people of the surrounding area didn't want it to spread, so they wanted to
Yeah,
stop.
they were
But
aware of it. That was fine. I have to say, the body horror and the gore in this is really good. I wish that
Yeah.
they had gone like the parasite route because early on in the movie, the one girl talks about not wanting to drink the water or not wanting to drink the ice, and I was thinking it was going to go a parasite route or they were going to get
Like the bay?
something in the water like the bay.
Yeah.
And the fact that they went with plants really bothered me. Once they were in the skin and you could see the wormy kind of movement, super cool. But why was it plants? I don't.
Very,
Because
very smart
plants don't run
Ugh.
away. They like grow and slowly spread. So it makes sense to me
Yeah.
why it's plants because you can contain that. Like, how are you going to contain worms? They're going to go in the ground and get away. So like, I get
Fair.
that, but I feel like they could have done it with a fungus, and that would have been more interesting. Like Gaia,
Sure.
which is great. If you should check out Gaia. It's much more artsy,
I've heard of that actually. I haven't
really
seen it.
interesting,
Artsy, like
really
Ray
cool.
Romano shooting himself to death. Artsy.
Yeah, totally. Just like that.
It's
Exactly.
supposed
Except
to
for
be an
he's
art. It's supposed to be
imagine
an
Ray
artsy movie.
Romano shitting himself in a jungle while getting infected with a pollen.
Artsy.
Yeah, that kind of.
And-
Art house
oh.
cinema. The French loved it.
It's to me really.
Not Jerry Lewis.
I don't know.
Well, they
It's-
love Jerry Lewis.
Do they?
A fungus
Who's they?
definitely
Wait,
would
who
have been
loves
better.
Jerry Lewis? What?
The French.
I don't
Oh,
know.
wait, who is they? Who loves Jerry Lewis?
The French.
Yeah, Gaia has that same vibe of a plant, but it's not a plant. It's actually a fungus. And
Yeah.
to me, that makes a lot more sense because if we're, again, I watched The Ruins. I didn't think too hard when I watched this movie. To me, it's a good time. It's a good creepy crawly horror. If you want that, great, watch this. If you're into that like buggy kind of horror that gets into your skin,
I love
this
bugs.
movie
Yeah.
does that with a plant that's more like a worm.
Less
That
like a
mimics
smart.
self-focus.
If you
Worms.
want a smart version of an infecting kind of creature that possesses and takes over and spreads, Gaia is the movie. That movie is super interesting.
Maybe I'll
It's
give that one a go.
beautiful too. It's got like these fever dream moments that are like, I don't know. It's really interesting. The design is really cool. I would love to see that whole movie explored more with a series. It gave me like Annihilation vibes, but with a fungus here on Earth. Yeah, a couple films I did watch that I think you guys should check out that are good little time capsules is Dead Calm with Nicole Kidman, Billy Zane, and Sam Neill, like a sailing trip horror. Really interesting, very much a time capsule of the 80s to 90s transition of thrillers. And then Red Eye, which of course came out in
Oh, yeah.
2005, is what
I
I
love
think is
that one.
Wes Craven's best thriller and one of my favorite films from him, with again Cillian Murphy.
Murphy.
Also
Cillian
Rachel McAdams, which this is one of her
Yeah.
earlier movies before she got
She's
so
good in
super
it.
famous. And she's great. Yeah. This
Yeah.
movie is really good.
I love that movie. It's so good.
And that's it. If you liked our channel, if you liked what we talked about today, make sure you hit that like button, that comments section, subscribe, click on all the thingies in the description because we have things like Discord. If you're a patron, you can support our channel and help us grow and get some bonus content, whether it's bonus episodes, early access. What else do we want to plug? If you're watching this on YouTube, we do this live behind the scenes filming on Twitch. So make sure that you subscribe to our Twitch channel. Make sure you subscribe to our Twitch
and sea shanties.
so that you can watch us live being silly and trying to film these seriously. And like I said, if you're a patron, you'll get access to movie nights and you'll also get access to bonus episodes and you'll get access to merch. We have loyalty merch that's going out to our patrons. So check that out. Bye-bye.
Bye guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.